further, Krishna replies to Arjuna's inquiries about what happens to the living being at the time of death and how a living being can return back to Lord Krishna. So Krishna replies, Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yaf prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshayah. And whoever at the time of death quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. So this is how we can return back to Krishna. If we prepare our consciousness, if we prepare our subtle body, if we focus our mind, our attention always on Krishna while we are in this material world, if we practice Krishna consciousness, loving devotion to Krishna under the expert guidance of a pure devotee, we can train ourselves to awaken our pure love for Krishna. When our consciousness becomes completely saturated in Krishna Bhakti, love and devotion to Krishna, then at the time of death, we become qualified to enter into the spiritual abode of Lord Krishna. So clearly Krishna is telling, Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati samadbhavam. Antakale, at the time of death, when we completely absorb in love and devotion to Krishna, then we achieve that spiritual nature and return back to Krishna. So the general principle Krishna explains in the next shloka, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajati ante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavitaha. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. So this is the way how a living being changes his body and gets a new body. When a person dies, only the physical body is destroyed. The subtle body, which is made of mind, intelligence and false ego, that is not destroyed. According to the state of the subtle body, the soul is taken into another body and a gross body develops according to the subtle body. Suppose a person is very much addicted to meat eating, so it all is accumulated in the subtle body. His desires to eat meat, it's all registered in the subtle body. So when he quits his body, that soul is taken to a suitable body matching his desires, which are all stored in the subtle body. Because he is addicted to meat eating, he will be transferred into the womb of some carnivorous animals like lion or tiger, which naturally enables him to fulfill the desire of meat eating. Similarly, if someone is addicted to swimming, he enjoys swimming. So all those desires are registered in the subtle body, and when he quits his present body, he is sent to some aquatic species where he can enjoy swimming. So he will get a gross body matching his desires. So similarly, at the time of death, if we remember Krishna, we will give up both material bodies, both gross body and subtle body. Only the spirit soul alone, it achieves its spiritual body and returns back to the spiritual world. So this is the way. So in human form of life, the best use of our body, mind, intelligence is to train ourselves to develop our love and devotion to Krishna, so that we can become completely liberated from the gross body and subtle body. Unless we give up these two coverings, we cannot get liberation. Liberation means getting liberated from both the coverings, gross body and subtle body, and the spirit soul receives a spiritual body which is Satchidananda, which will never get destroyed. In the spiritual body, we can always remain happy without any suffering in the spiritual world with the Supreme Lord. So that is called Swarupa Siddhi, achieving our original constitutional position. So once we achieve our original constitutional position, we will be happy forever. There will be no problems at all, and that is success of life. So Krishna is describing here how we can achieve it while living in this material world. So Krishna says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhya cha mai arpita mano buddhir mame vaishyasya samshaya. So Krishna is telling, therefore Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. So clearly Krishna is giving us the formula of how to live in this material world and at the same time elevate ourselves spiritually. So Krishna is telling, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha. Krishna is telling that always you think of me and you do your prescribed duty of fighting. Arjuna was a Kshatriya. His duty was to fight with the enemies whenever they attack. So Arjuna is telling, you can do your duties. While living in this material world, each of us have to do our duties according to our own acquired natures. But at the same time, we should always be careful to fix our mind, our intelligence on Krishna and always keep remembering Him. So both we should do parallelly. Not that some people say work is worship. You just do your duties nicely and that is fine. There is no need of going to temple, no need of any spiritual activity. So that is completely wrong understanding. Even if we work hard without going to temple, we will not get liberated at the time of death. No one is going to appreciate that hard work. The Lord is not pleased just by hard work. The Lord is pleased by our love and devotion, because everything is supplied by the Lord. We are not creating anything in this material world. Nothing belongs to us in this world. In this whole creation, everything is created by the Supreme Lord Krishna Himself. We are also part of His creation. So the best thing to do is recognize the greatness of the Supreme Lord Krishna and be happy to know that He is our Supreme Father, and surrender to Him and love Him and serve Him. This is our duty. And He is a kind Father. He will supply everything to us. So in the spiritual world, there is nothing like hard work. There is nothing like working at all. In the spiritual world with Krishna, there is only enjoyment, nothing called working. Work is here only in the material world because we want to live against the will of the Lord. Therefore, to live in this material world, we have to work hard. So no living being wants to work because that is our nature. We don't want to work hard for enjoying. We want to happily enjoy forever. That is natural. And Krishna is telling that you can live happily with me in the spiritual world, which is eternal, never to get destroyed. This material world is created in such a way that it is created for some time, it is created, it remains for some time, it gets destroyed. Material body also, it takes birth, it remains for some time, it produces some byproducts and then it vanishes. So no one likes temporary life. We are eternal spirit soul. We like to live eternally, happily. No one wants to die. So Krishna is telling that it is possible if you return back to me. In the spiritual world, you live with me. In the material world, it is not possible. So to return back to the spiritual world, we have to be true lovers of Krishna. Otherwise, we cannot enter into the personal planets of Lord Krishna. So we have to know that we are parts of Krishna. We can live with Krishna forever. It is our constitutional right to live with the Supreme Lord Krishna. So we have to give up hating Krishna. We have to give up challenging Krishna. We have to give up enviousness against the Supreme Lord. And we have to accept our position as servant of God. God is supreme. He is the master. There is no one equal to God or greater than God. God is one. That is Krishna. Then who are we? We are all His eternal servants. So we have to accept this truth. Unless we accept this truth and surrender to Krishna, there is no question of liberation or returning back to Krishna. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, because Arjuna is a pure devotee of Krishna and his friend, so Krishna is telling, you always remember me and you do your prescribed duty of fighting. Fix your mind on me, fix your intelligence on me, fix your consciousness on me. In this way, you will return back to me. So this is the formula of spiritual elevation. So further Krishna is telling, Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasananyagamina paramam purusham divyam yati parthanu chintayan. He who meditates on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, Arjuna, is sure to reach me. So clearly Krishna is further stressing Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena. Krishna is telling that we have to regularly practice. We have to regularly practice fixing our mind, fixing our consciousness on Krishna. Since we are living in this material world, from time immemorial, Anadi Kale, we don't know when we came into this material world, and we are all addicted to sense enjoyment. So our attention keeps getting diverted from concentrating on Krishna, from his service and his devotion. So Krishna is telling that wherever the mind wanders, you bring it back and fix it on me. So the easiest way of remembering Krishna, easiest way of fixing the mind on Krishna is told by Lord Krishna himself in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya has told, Kirtaniyaha Sada Harihi. Lord Chaitanya has recommended that if you have to remember Krishna always, you always chant Krishna's holy names, especially the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We can always practice chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It gives immense pleasure, immense satisfaction by chanting and serving the holy name, and it is very easy process. There is no rules and regulations to chant the holy names. Either we can do chanting in the form of japa, or we can sing melodiously in a group in the form of Hare Krishna Mahamantra Sankirtana. And we should also develop tolerance like a tree, and we should be very humble, just like a blade of grass. And a tree, it stands in one place tolerating torrents of rain, severe heat, and people come and sometimes cut the branches or cut the trunk. Still the tree is very tolerant. In that way, we may get so many difficulties in this material world. We should go on tolerating those difficulties, and we should always practice being meek and humble. We should always be ready to respect every living being, and we should not expect any respect from other living beings. In this state of mind, we can always chant the holy names of Krishna, and in this way we can become purified and return back to Krishna. So this is the process of spiritual elevation which is recommended for this age of Kali by Lord Krishna himself in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we should all practice this Krishna consciousness under the expert guidance of a pure devotee of Krishna, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, the worldwide Hare Krishna movement, is the authorized representative of Krishna coming in the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, and he has given very clear instructions of practicing Krishna consciousness. He has written innumerable books for us to know who is Krishna, who is Lord Chaitanya, and how to become true lovers of Krishna. And he has given all practical guidance of practicing the principles of Krishna consciousness. So under his expert guidance, we all can become purified, we all can become true lovers of Krishna and return back to Krishna.